Hey you, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Fire is alive is a concept that fire itself is alive. For one, think about our concepts of what constitutes life and how many of them fire is in line with. It reproduces, it grows on its own, it maintains a homeostasis thermal temperature to itself, it moves on its own, and it eats and excretes on its own as well. Really, the only thing that it doesn't have in common with understood life is that it's not made up of cells. But as we've talked about earlier on this chart, perhaps something doesn't need to be made up of cells or carbon-based in order to exist. In other words, concepts of energy beings or supernatural things from another dimension that simply pierce through the veil occasionally as energy creatures can be seen with fire itself. Or at the very least, perhaps how plasma is formed within fire and is a constantly replicating energy source that could be the secret to other forms of life outside of our understanding.
That is absolutely fantastic. When somebody said, hey, check out, fire is alive, I was thinking like, you know, as a person. Because when you think alive, typically, narrow minded, that's where you go. Oh, I can talk to them, have a conversation, they're going to walk around, stuff like that. But no, it's living, breathing, and it has all of those attributes aside from the cells, obviously. And I was like, oh, you can have a conversation with it, but you can't because you can't. But you can't have a conversation with a tree, and a tree is alive. So why can't fire be? So every time we put fire out, are we like, you know, committing homicide or something? I guess it's like the same as cutting down a tree, right? You're just taking it out. Done. I don't know. That is crazy though. Look, it's the really close up part. Thanks so much for stopping by today. If you're having a good time, it would help me out immensely if you would hit that like button and consider subscribing. Then come back tomorrow because I'm doing this every single day. All of the days for you.
Cause that's causing the diabetes, which is food. It's poison food. We have 1,000 ingredients in our food that are banned in Europe and other countries, and they're killing us literally. The autism rate in our country has gone from 1 in 10,000 in my generation, 70-year-old men, 1 in 10,000 has full-blown autism. In my kids' generation, it's 1 in every 34 kids, according to CDC, 1 in every 22 boys. So this is a national security issue. It's the cost. Mark Blaxell just published a peer-reviewed publication that shows that the cost of treating autism alone is $1 trillion a year. So this is, like I say, this is existential for us. And then there's all these other diseases that suddenly appeared around 1989, all these allergic diseases, food allergies, peanut allergies, eczema, asthma exploded. We had that early. When I was a kid, I knew people with asthma. But today they're in every classroom. There's albuterol inhalers in every classroom. There's EpiPens in every classroom. Nobody's talking about this and explaining why the neurological disorders, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, autism, all these are diseases that I never heard of when I was a kid. Nobody ever knew about them. They were unknown, to any except for esoteric specialties in the medical profession. The autoimmune diseases that suddenly exploded. I mean, the great bulk of my followers are young people, and I do selfie lines after every speech, and they, one at a time, they come up to me and say, I have POTS, I have, ADHD, I have all these autoimmune diseases.
So over the years, information has become more readily available to everybody. So yeah, obviously you're going to see more signs of things that you didn't see before because now every day there's more and more information available in the palm of our hands. So you see this stuff that you wouldn't have seen, decades ago because it's being broadcast to everybody at all hours of the day, right? But I do understand what he's saying because I know when I was younger, there was a lot less ailments amongst the students in my classes than there are now amongst like my friends' kids or my son's friends. And I'm just like, okay, So I do understand what he's saying, how the food industry must be doing something to the food, because the food industry regulates themselves, right? So they can put whatever they want into anything and you're going to eat it. And since that's a common factor amongst everybody, then I could understand why we would see more issues arising. And it's not that they're putting it in to intentionally do that, but they're putting it in and it is doing something. And everybody's got to eat, so who knows what else is going to come up.
In April 2019, a YouTuber named Jason uploaded a video to his channel, Appy Mountain Trekkers, in which he recorded footage of his solo overnight trip to the mountains. His channel is dedicated to all things outdoors, in which Jason frequently uploads videos of his adventures hiking, camping, and surviving in the woods. In this particular video, his hike up to the mountain is pretty uneventful, and as soon as he arrives at the campsite, Jason begins setting up his tent and shows his viewers how he starts a fire as the sun begins to set. As he waits for the day to end, he tries his luck at spoon carving, and this is when he reports hearing a strange sound coming from the top of one of the mountains, but he writes it off as a bird or some other small animal and continues setting up for the night. At about 9 o'clock, he turns his camera off to go to bed, but less than an hour later, he wakes up to a strange sound that he says he's never heard before in his life. He mentions it sounded like some sort of guttural animal call, but because it came from pretty far away, he couldn't identify what it was.
I'm still rattled. I've never heard anything like that in my life. It sounded like a mix between almost like a pig, some kind of, I hate to even say it, but a pig, an ape, and the calls almost sounded like how the velociraptors communicate with each other on Jurassic Park. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
Still shaken after the rude awakening, he tries to go back to bed, but just a few hours later at around 1 a.m., he wakes up again to what he describes as the sound of something or someone circling his tent.
Whatever it is, it's close. You hear that?
No, thank you. No, I've said it before. Don't go camping alone. I don't go camping alone. Just don't do it. I personally cannot justify putting myself in a situation where I could potentially be eaten, and all I have in between myself and all of those teeth is that little piece of nylon. No, no thanks. No. I feel like I may have used that video already. Or maybe I've just seen it a bunch of times. I don't know. But no, no thanks.
There's a strange humming sound that has been heard in all of the highlighted places on this map. The humming sound is said to be low frequency and very invasive to those who hear it. Some of the more popular locations that this humming sound has been heard has been in Scotland, England, and Australia. And in the United States, it's been heard in Taos, New Mexico. Researchers and scientists have said maybe the sound is just coming from mating fish in the area. Maybe it's coming from a submarine. There's a possibility that the sound is coming from wind farms. Many people are skeptical and believe the sound is coming from radio waves or the earth putting off a strange frequency. A lot of people can't hear the sound, but there is a specific group of people called hum hearers, and they're usually men in their 40s who hear the sound and they say it drives them crazy. It's invasive and causes severe migraines. What do you think the sound is being caused by?
That's interesting that 40-year-old men were predominantly hearing it and it was making them go crazy. I know there's tinnitus, but that's ringing in your ears. I wonder if it has something to do with that as well. But she did say something about the Earth's frequency, and the Earth does resonate a frequency. But what if it's like off a little bit? Like there's some kind of shift happening, right? And so people in that area where it's most predominantly happening are more able to pick up on this frequency because it's so unusual and your ears just suddenly tune into it. That is interesting though. A speculation time, let me know what you think it might be.
All right, this next story, you guys, you got to pay attention to this one. If you've got a water bottle, yeah, it's going to make you sick to your stomach. One object that everyone has every day. I've got one at my desk. I'm sure everyone has them. Well, they may actually be breeding grounds for bacteria.
You told me that after I drank out of it.
Yeah, well, you know what? They may not be as clean as you think.
No, I know. This is water. It just adds a little flavor. I don't like the plain water taste. Anyway, scientists are calling it a portable petri dish. They say that this here, the water bottle that you have, could be dirtier than your toilet seat. Yeah, after swabbing parts of different water bottles, researchers at an Australian Catholic university found two different types of bacteria present. One causes infections that can make you resistant to antibiotics. The other can cause intestinal issues.
Oh my gosh, compared to other household items, studies show your dirty water bottle may contain twice as many germs as your kitchen sink and 14 as many germs as your pet's drinking bowl. Wow. So that's kind of the question.
That same Australian research company in the same study found that a lot of people have developed like an emotional bond with their water bottles, which I found to be particularly interesting because people I know, they're always carrying the same water bottle. And some people have that big, huge, like Yeti one that carries like 1.5 liters or whatever it is. And they're constantly carrying it around with them everywhere that they go. And they're like, oh, they have like separation anxiety whenever they don't have their water bottle with them. It's not like they're gonna go dehydrated when they leave the house for an hour, you know, but they have to have it with them everywhere they go. That's totally me all day long. My husband bought me that big, huge Yeti like a year ago for my birthday. And yeah, my bottle and I were totally inseparable until I saw this video. And I'm like, I need to wash that thing. Like it would go up to bed with me at night. I mean, not to bed with me at night, but I would put it on the nightstand. And every single night it's there. Every day I have it. It's right near me and didn't get washed nearly as often as it probably should. But it's all taken apart right now and getting deep cleaned and sitting in some hot soapy water because that's gross. But yeah, wash your bottle, change out your bottle, have more than one. Save the earth, but don't drink out of the toilet.
The Muffin Man was actually a serial. We all know the Muffin Man from the world-famous nursery rhyme. Many don't know that it is based on a harrowing true story. Between 1589 and 1598, a man known as Frederick Thomas Linwood resided on Drury Lane in Victorian London. But he was not like other muffin men. See, during his daily deliveries, he would lure children away from their homes by tying none other than, you guessed it, a muffin to a string, leading them to dark alleys. It is reported that he lured up to 15 kids in his career as the Muffin Man, making him one of the first documented serial killers in history. But it only gets crazier from here. C. Linwood didn't enjoy competition with fellow bakers, and reportedly took out 7 rival bakers during his lifetime, with some recounts of the story saying it was with a sharpened wooden spoon. As a result of Linwood terrorizing the streets of London, the nursery rhyme we all know today was created, as a way to keep kids safe and raise awareness. Obviously, the song was passed down far past the period of its intended use, and now is a prominent nursery rhyme that many don't know the dark origins behind. So next time you sing this catchy rhyme, just remember.
Did you know the Muffin Man was about that? Because I sure didn't. And I know I don't know a lot of things. And I certainly didn't know that. And that is a dark backstory. I know a lot of nursery rhymes do have pretty dark backstories because they were made up, you know, back in times where things weren't nearly as good as they are. Like Ring Around the Rosie was about the Black Plague, and I've heard that Pop Goes the Weasel was like about times of poverty. But if you know any other backstories to nursery rhymes, I'd love to know. Please let me know down in the comments.
He went camping and recorded his own update. On November 14th of 2017, a footage was discovered at a camping ground in Eugene, Oregon, where a man can be seen setting up camp for the night, when suddenly, as it begins to get dark, he goes into his tent, unknowing something had been stalking him all along.
There's someone right outside the tent. Leave me alone!
After hearing someone or something outside his tent, What looks like a pale, grainy figure can be seen trying to get it. Then, as he's trying to get away, this happens. It's believed that this footage may have belonged to a 30-year-old man named Jacob Edris, who went missing on that day near the area.
No. Apparently, if it's not the teeth that'll get you, it's going to be the aliens. Don't go camping alone. That's just not smart. I mean, come on. At least if you get abducted, you're going with somebody. And if you have a friend, as I've said before, you can run faster than them. So, yeah, just don't go camping alone. That's not smart. Be smart. Don't be not smart. Don't get abducted alone.
Do you want to watch a movie about these two guys that work for a company that literally trains its employees to break into homes across the world to extract human material from, get this, unsuspecting children?
Oh, hell no! I would have been ready to throw hands at my jammy jams.
Oh, it gets worse. The authorities arrive after, surprise, surprise, a kidnapping, and the perps run.
No surprise, cowards always do.
During this whole thing, they are completely butt naked.
Oh dear God.
But do you want to know the most messed up part of this whole thing?
Probably not, but you're gonna tell me anyway, aren't you?
They liked it when the kids screamed, but they loved it more when they giggled.
Those animals.
No, not animals. Monsters. Monsters, Inc. What?
Did he get you too? Because I made it all the way to the end when he said Monsters, Inc. before I was like, oh. I was mad. That was awful. There was some awful things that he was saying. That's a terrible movie. Oh my goodness, it's a kid's movie. I thought that would be a great place to end it for today. I'm going to call it. Thank you so much for joining me. I totally appreciate every single second of your time. Come on back tomorrow. We'll watch some different stuff. I'll say different things, and it'll be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.